Hi there, I'm Tony Gavilanes, Technical Director here at the beautiful Copious venue in Ballard, and I am going to give you a quick technical orientation onto the systems that we have so that you can understand some of the potentials for your program. Let's start over here at our audio system. This is an analog 16-channel mixer, probably very familiar, any technician with the Mackie 1604. What we have are all of our inputs from our stage snake. It's a 16-channel snake. 8 of the inputs are pre-patched here from the first 8 channels. Then we have some of our other equipment that's set up. These black channels, as you can see them, are our room mics. We'll talk about that when we get to a little bit more of the streaming setup. But these are basically not patched into the acoustic room output. They're only going down the auxes to our recording deck and our streaming setup so that we can give a little bit of breath into the mix. The next 2 channels are essentially our wireless microphones. These are the ones that we recommend any record or stream end up using because the room mics are going to catch a lot of the HVAC system, the squeaking of shoes on the floor, and just a lot of the general echo of the room. That's why we bring it in as the air of the room. And you can have our yellow channel single microphone here, or our second channel actually has 2 handhelds that can go along with it. 2 people, 1 volume, just for those mixing out there. Interesting but inexpensive option for wireless microphones. We also have our headphone inputs. We have headphone 1 and headphone 2. These are stereo channels, so you have a left and a right, and those go down to little cables. The headphone 1 dangling right here next to the mixer, labeled headphone 1. The other headphone cable over by the lighting board, labeled headphone 2. Then essentially your master knob here is what's going to be feeding the room mix. And just so you know, the mix that you're bringing into the faders here is all sent through our auxes to our record system and the streaming system as well. So that's how the audio gets over there. Just in case, you can also monitor them with these headphones. This is listening to the streaming and recording system. Moving down, we have our lighting console here. It's a Jans CL, so if you want to look it up online, manuals are available. Very, very simple 24-channel mixer. The way that we have labeled it is essentially page 1 and page 2. We've got 12 channels here, but 24 channels essentially. It's a bank 1, bank 2 scenario. You can switch the pages by hitting the page button here. When you've opened up the show, make sure you're on our Copious standard show. You can basically toggle back and forth between this top row of indicated lights assignments and the bottom row of indicated light assignments. The top, which is kind of our black channels, are a lot of our conventionals, and the white channels are a lot of our LEDs. You can see that I have a lot, the LEDs selected actually right now. I have a whole bank of them selected. I can do one, or I can press the one and select a bunch of the other ones, and I can change all of the color at the hit of a button or at the twist of a knob and be able to get a lot of different, much more succinct hues all set up. That being said, I can do it for any number of the selected lights, 1 or multiple. Building looks very, very explanatory in that first couple of pages. Once you have your look, you can press the record button and record it to either a cue or a scene. The scene buttons can toggle between 4 different scene pages. They're all color-coded. More about that in the instruction manual. That being said, right here in the tech booth is our lovely binder. Inside you'll find a grid, you'll find setup information, best practices, basic walkthroughs, equipment lists, and then a audio standard connections plot essentially for where all the connections are coming. Same thing, a standard plot for our lighting console, and then as well the manual for these pieces of equipment right here in the binder. Look no further than that. Moving down the table, we have our video system, and this is how it should be set up for you when you walk into the venue. It's a 3-camera system, and what you're essentially looking at is our multi-view here. This little device here is called our Stream Deck, and it is our control to be able to switch between the camera angles or the inputs. That being said, we do have an extra 1 HDMI input into this system. We'll talk about when we get there. But essentially what we're looking at is our slideshow input right now. We can press these buttons here to switch between our camera angles and also our HDMI input. As you can see, it's black right now. As soon as we plug a laptop or a camera into that, it will show up into here. 1080p, 60 frames a second. That is the way to get it in. But that being said, I'm going to hit also the stream and record button here. You'll see that it turned red, and that indicates that yes, we are recording, and yes, we are streaming. The record records to the computer locally in an NKV file through the OBS software. Stream goes out to whichever streaming service that we've set up and configured through that software. But I wanted to do that so that I could show you these camera angles and be able to kind of go through them a little bit more. Camera 1 is our wide angle. It's basically in the center of the audience area of our venue, and it focuses right between the two proscenium columns out here. Camera 2 is this camera that's actually up here in the tech booth, which I can operate. As you can see on screen, we can get sweeping shots. There's a zoom lens on this, which actually allows you to get closer than any other position in any of the other lights. Excuse me, not lights. Any of the other cameras. It allows you to get a much closer shot. And then we also have our opposite diagonal GoPro camera, which is on the opposite column from the tech booth. So 2 diagonals and a center wide view. And then our slideshow, which is a fixed background we just run in the beginning of any show, and then your HDMI input. Please reach out to us, the technical team here and the booking team. We would be happy to answer all of your questions. And if you have any additional needs to add on to this, we also have our in-house vendor, TEP, which can facilitate anything else that you may need. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you here at Copious.